What I'm trying to give you is a picture of how you're being led by the nose, okay? A lot of these ideas about what is progressive and not progressive are led by people who are doing the same thing that other people in power are doing, controlling and censoring. And that's never going to lead to people evolving and understanding. It's only going to lead to people trying to play with notions of truth and falsehood. Okay? Kyojits. You do this to your enemies so you confuse them, so you cause them to divide. Okay? It's fundamental. Tatame. Tatame, the second term in our list. Tatame is the idea that you're sincere, your personal values. Okay? And again, I would analyze these characters a little bit for you, but it's not really so much. It wouldn't be that important to most people. The point being, the sense of one's sincere values. Okay? What one truly believes. But the whole thing is, again, Tatame is a bit of a red herring because according to Kyojits, when you're actually into that type of situation, there is no sincerity, okay? There are different notions of truth and falsehood, okay? Tatame is very similar to the Dharma. It's the idea of your path, your sincerity, what you know to be from your own understanding. Okay? So, I would say, please don't. It's impossible. Okay, finally we have Hone. Hone is you could call it the Japanese Machiavellian streak, okay? It's the idea that the ends justify the mean, okay? When you see that first character, it usually means orthodoxy, something that is kind of understood and a pattern, a template. That's also the character Uzban, I believe, for Japanese. Okay? Japanese. Uzban, a Japanese person. So, Hone is taking that as a means to an end. So, what you do is you're manipulating using kyojits for a purpose which you consider to be a purpose worth manipulating. Okay? These three concepts are not only integral to using your art at a higher level, they're integral to keeping your head on straight when you have all these different things that are coming in and influencing you, okay? Trying to get you to do and say and act according to certain things. So, if you understand these ideas, then you will understand, first of all, the things I'm telling you, they're facts. Okay? I'm not telling you what's good or bad. Okay? I'm not telling you go buy Bitcoin, for example. I'm simply saying to you that when you have a system of wealth that's based on goods and services of a certain sort versus a standard of value, some sort of a currency that's based on its own particular value, like gold, okay, which often called, not a fiat currency, but simply a currency for its own inherent value, which is what currency was originally based upon. The problem with that is, and this is a fact, if tomorrow things go to shit and everybody's out of soap, your soap is worth more than the gold. Okay? So there are limits to that as well. Bitcoin also has limits, but Bitcoin is only and exclusively what people put in for it. It cannot be expanded. So it is exactly what it is and nothing else. And that's my point. Okay? Not that it's good or bad. When I tell you about how we're manipulated by these ideas, it's true. These ideas have made untold wealth for people. Okay? The government and its strength and its ability to have the means financially, okay, is such that it doesn't have to tax the rich so much when you have everybody being taxed in a household, okay? When you take one person and now you have two people, in the 1950s, you can talk about inflation all you want, but whatever the rate of inflation was, throw all that shit out the window, all these charts, okay? And just understand something, people. Whatever it was, a man or a woman could go to work, another parent, custodial, could be at home, they could afford a home, they could raise a family, so that that child was being reared by a two-parent household. You cannot do that today. So I don't know what your charts say. It doesn't matter. The fact, Kyojitsu, beyond all the bullshit, okay? People had more back then. It's that simple, okay? What would you rather have? Be able to have one person work or two? And when I'm telling you about the unions and things like that, if you don't think that that's true, start to do your research and you'll see, okay? Everything that this country does and the world does is connected now. There are no real separate countries anymore, okay? We truly are in a global village, okay? And those who have the means do not want to have enough, okay? All ideologies, political and otherwise, okay, they work on the principle that everybody must be converted, okay? Even if they don't proselytize. Even something as benign as the Mahayana Buddhist utterance that I will not be enlightened until all sentient beings are enlightened. Until then, I have work to do. It implies everybody must be part of that, okay? These people who have billions of dollars, for example, in currency, in Bitcoin, it's not enough for them. They can't take that money out slowly so that everybody can get a foothold and maybe tell their friends, invest, let's do this so that we have the power. We can control this currency, which was what these things were designed for originally, by the way. Again, look it up, okay? No. Billion isn't enough. You need 2 billion. You have 2 billion, you need 4 billion, okay? That's the mentality, the enemy you're dealing with, okay? You cannot go anywhere in this country and not be touched by it anymore, okay? So understand your kyojits, okay? Understand how people use the media and other such things to control your idea of truth and falsehood, okay? Understand that when you're given license or you make what you consider strides, you better understand that in order to preserve those strides, they have to be equanimous. You cannot simply just take and think that you will hold on to that. All this progress that people think that we've made in the last few years, it can go down the shitter in a heartbeat. And you see it happening with what's going on in this country now. Because there's an excuse. People can then be told to say things like, well, everybody's woke and, you kids are learning in school to be transgender. It's not true. But people can be manipulated that way by the powers that be if there's no sense of doing things, trying to think of the right word here, without exaggerating them, without creating something that is too far, okay? You don't want to be a zealot. It gives that opening to your enemy, okay? Stick to the program. Compassion, love, and respect for all people. Being able to provide for all people, okay? And do so refraining from any sort of ideological pendulum swinging. It's the best way I can put it, okay? Anyway, I hope this makes my point clear. I guess I'll wrap it up with one more set.